Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to a video. Um, I'm back. I'm gonna try to do many videos over the next month, 2 months, the foreseeable future. But I- you know, I saw this and I was like, man, I do not know this comic book. The cover is awesome. It's kind of retro, which was a little exciting for me just to look at something a little different than what you might normally see online right now. And it happens to be Bryan Hitch, which is kind of trippy too. I've never seen this comic book before. I actually really made a point not to look ahead. But anyway, I hope everyone's doing good. I've been really busy working on Blaster Kids, so the only plug I'm going to give right now today is just definitely follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm updating really multiple times a day. In my stories, I even sneak in other previews I'm not showing. And on Patreon, there's even more. So I have links to those three. My Patreon's got between 700 and 800 videos. I show tons of process. I talk about all kinds of behind the scenes stuff, and it's a lot of educational content. But all right, let's get into this. This cover is amazing. Um, when I very first started collecting comics, one of the books that I did buy was it was a 4-pack of a book called Death's Head, and it was drawn by Liam Sharp. And I'm wondering, I mean, this just says regular Marvel Comics, but I know that they did have a line of books called Marvel UK. I'm not super knowledgeable on when that began and then how long it went. I didn't see it much past the. I mean, I would say by '96, I wasn't really seeing Marvel UK stuff anymore. But this cover is great. Let's just take a second to appreciate this because honestly, I mean, someone who's penciling now and penciling inking themselves, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. This thing would take me 5 or 6 days to draw easily. Um, I mean, laying it out is just laying out the piece would be freaking insane. I mean, this is really like God. I could stare at this for a while. There's so much going on. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I really don't. This is like, it was weird. So I was trying to decide what I was going to do today, and I haven't really been super inspired to do review videos, to be honest. I'm focused on my work, and it's just like, I mean, I try to be honest with people, and it's like, I never really came to YouTube to do book reviews. And so it's fun, but it's not something I would naturally do. But seeing this, I was like, man, I really want to look at this and sort of just like soaking in these poses. Like this is a lot of work. Like look at this pose right here. Let me grab a brush there. That's a nice little pose right there. And they're all nice poses really. But yeah, you draw a few pieces like this, man, you're gonna be cutting your teeth. So Hitch, 1992. Look at this shot of this guy getting punched is great. This is awesome. These are tough shots. These up shots are challenging. It's interesting because like if I was gonna go like what styles do I see in this or what like who are the artists that maybe inspired him? What do you guys think? I'm a little I have a few going through my mind, but I'm not totally sure. So I'll let you guys take the reins on that. Let me know who you see in this. 1992, who would have been the inspirato? But anyway, let's get in the book. This is going to be wild. All right, I have to get out of this full screen for a second. Hang on. See this? Ooh, got some old school ads. Oh man, this brings back memories. Oh, how funny. This was in like freaking every book. Oh my god, this is so cool. Wow. I remember this. That's so funny. And then this. This was like you heard this was coming out and it was so cool. Sorry, Mike. Let me just return this text really quick just so that it'll just take 1 second. I'm just going to write okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, like Darker Image was like this thing that was coming. There was another book that Jim had an ad for called I think Regent. And Regent looked really cool. It was kind of that like Death Blow sort of style, but it was a character that looked a little more like Union. Oh man, look at all this cool stuff. Videos. Oh, Bubblegum Crisis. That was the shit. Vampire Princess. I don't know. Those are pretty expensive, to be honest. That's pricey even now. $40. That was a small fortune back in the naughty nines. Valiant. Oh man, they didn't have the flashy art of Image, but they had some pretty interesting stuff going on. Games and collectibles. This is fun. Cards. Hold on, let's see the cards. Oh man, this is so cool. I knew this book looked fun. That was the thing. I needed fun. It's been really cool. So let me just say this about Blaster Kid really quick. One thing that's really exciting about sharing the art is that people really feel the energy that I'm putting into it, and they know that I'm having fun, and they know that I'm going fucking like not even all in. I'm going like all in at psycho level. Like I want it to be so badass, and you know. The spirit of all that stuff started with things like this. Now I wasn't collecting at this time, but this was the energy that I fed off of, and slowly over a period of time as comics evolved, it kind of lost a little bit of that energy. Now look, I'm a fan of good stories, and it's something that really, in a funky way, it sound weird, I really consider myself more of a writer that draws than an artist. So it's like you guys are in good hands in terms of like someone that's a storyteller. I have that. I've developed it over my whole life. So anyway, but yeah, so we've got BRYAN HITCH pencils, Jeff Anderson inks. The cover was it looked like I only saw Hitch's signature on it, so hard to say. Man, he draws really good anatomy. That's really cool. But this is a nice laid out page. I actually like this. A lot of panels too. I mean, this is you know, I talk about the difference between now. So Dan Abnett, I'm not 100% sure if Dan is an American writer or a British writer, to be 100% honest. I've seen his name on books for years. So Paul Neary presents. That's interesting. So Paul Neary presents, but it's story by Dan Abnett. And usually, wasn't it Lanning and Abnett that worked together for like years on stuff? But Paul Neary ended up inking Hitch, I think, later. This is fascinating. I'm going to shut this. We don't need that, Ed. But yeah, so look how cool this stuff is. I remember though when I was first starting to collect, I would see this stuff, and the one thing that I noticed about these types of book versus the Image thing is the color palette was a little funky to me. Not necessarily like something that I thought it was fun looking, to be clear, but it's a little bit like every color under the rainbow. You know, you've got like some true greens, in my opinion, red, yellow, blue, magenta, you know, oranges and yellows. It was a little chiclety, or like Chiclets was a gum that came in different colors for people that aren't 100 years old. But yeah, that was the one thing that I noticed with some of these, what I consider the Marvel UK books, is the colors were what I would call garish. But I actually like the colors on the inside of the book more, even though it is really kind of the same thing. This is cool. This is a very interesting like layout design that they're using here. I don't have time to get in the whole psychology of it right now in terms of like what vibe it gives. It almost feels like the opening of a movie or a video game, though, you know, where you like get like sort of like these little flashes of moments of stuff going on, or like an animation. It's really, really cool. In fact, it's quite nice. This is great. I already, like, honestly, I'm already giving this book 5 stars in my mind. I haven't seen anything that I don't like. This ended up being a grand slam for me. Oh, this is funny. This is what's funny is, so this is very imagey, and it looks very imagey and kind of like, you know, a little like cartoony, contorted and stuff like that. But this is like so like most of the Image artists, like well, I call them not the OGs, but like the second wave, like all the people that came in to work for Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee and stuff like that. Most of them early on really couldn't draw like someone this actually realistic. Like it was always a little kind of all over the map with their like normal humans. But they were all real good with superheroes. But yeah, they're normal, like, you know, the guy in the lab or whatever. They seem to struggle with that a bit more, but this is pretty solid. All right. Wow. This is fun. This is just what the doctor needed, or what the patient needed, what the doctor ordered. That's what it is. I need more coffee. That's what I think the doctor needs. All right, look at this. It's Snake Plissken, solid snake. He's kind of got like a, I don't know, is it like not Lex Luthor, but he's got like some. It reminds me of some sort of Superman. What was Superman? Jor-El. Berlin was in 1945. Uncomfortable, Nicholas? Good. Let's check out his gear. I'm obsessed with gear now. Put gear on everything. Sometimes I make missteps. If you're on my Patreon, you know what I'm talking about. I was breaking down some of the pieces that I've done and mistakes that I've made. Bad calls. Good calls, bad calls. They're all in there. All right, what do we got? Creepy lady, are you busy? Camera's breaking up. Sorry, can't talk now. All right. The electric shock line art. You drop out the black and kind of go in a little more loosey-goosey. It's a quick way. You can get through a panel like that really fast. I could draw something like this in a few seconds. And inking it wouldn't really take very long either. But that's a nice, fast panel. Because kind of like, you sort of like, you'll kind of put in your gesture and your solid shapes. And then that to me is really like, kind of like, you can hop from basically just a doodle to this. Really it's not very hard. Okay. Oh man, this is cool. I did see this when the files were opening. I was like, damn. This is an efficient way to do detail, though. It's a little less noodly than I get on stuff like this, and you could probably get through it quicker. Oh man, I didn't even notice this. This is great down here. Fuck, man. And this is really nice too. Hitch can draw his ass off, man. This is nice. And this actually, it's funny because this actually looks a little like Hitch, this lighting. And Hitch is an interesting artist for me too, and I can explain why. So Bryan, when I became really like fully aware of his stuff, was he worked for the company that I worked for, which is Wildstorm. So he came in and was doing the Authority, and I remember seeing Bryan's stuff, and he does a couple things. They're both right here too, in fact. So I'd be curious of what years he came to Wildstorm, because it was definitely around the time that I was considering getting into penciling, somewhere between when I stopped inking Travis and when I was inking Chris Boccolo. I really started to seriously go, I'm kind of over inking, and I need to seriously look at penciling. But so my point of all this is there's two things that Bryan does that I've never found would fit into my work, and it's this. I'm not a big fan of like for my own work, these black shapes on the face. He does it, and it works for his stuff. I like shadows on the faces, but the way that he does it, I would always look like I made a mistake. Like if I drew that, I would go, I don't know, man, that just doesn't look right. The other thing that he does is right here, and he'll do it even on pretty girls' faces, which is the black that goes like across their cheek. He'll do it like this, where you'll get this kind of shape, like a real heavy black. It may even kind of come in here and go like over here. And it could even come down here. I don't know. I can't really do black on girls' faces, like black shadows. I mean, unless it's a really high contrast scene. But it was just interesting. But he was an artist where I kind of went like, okay, he sees his work differently than I probably would do it. This is very Jim Lee. Interesting. But yeah, you know, when you start to kind of develop your own voice with like how you draw, you'll see stuff like that where you go like, I really like this person really draws good, but that definitely wouldn't work in my art, you know, the way that I see things. And that's not good or bad. It's just you know, one of those things. You can always try it and see if it actually kind of syncs up. You think so too, Kitty? Try it. My cat says try it. Here, I'll open the window for you so you can get some sunshine. She's just thrilled that we're back on the tube. Travis kind of did a panel like this in Wildcats. Travis Charay. Someone named Dead Puppet just signed up to my Patreon. Thank you, Dead Puppet. Okay, let's shut this. He won't regret it, I assure you. There's more videos than you could ever get through there. You could literally learn everything that you need to know about drawing on that and inking. If you learned every lesson that I taught there, you would be really good. But most won't. That's the problem. The information's there. It's like, I'm giving you the keys to the Lamborghini. Are you going to drive it? Or are you going to sit in the driveway? It's easier to dream about it, right? Be nice, Rich. You're just coming back. Oh, Army of Darkness. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm going to go out on a limb here. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be totally wrong on this is a total Hail Mary. I was just going to compliment the art here, but I swear I think this is a Jeff Watts painting. If I remember correctly, I think that this is Jeff. He didn't do a lot of big commercial gigs, but this was one that he did early on. Now I could be wrong, and I apologize if I'm mistaken, but yeah, like just it was weird. I was like, this is a really nice painting. And then I'm like, wait a second, I think that this is Jeff Watts. Jeff Watts is like Proco before Proco. He's a San Diego guy, and he does art lessons, and he's had a lot of pretty famous and really good artists and teachers come through his school. His dad is a painter as well. Yeah, it's interesting. So Hitch has kind of got like a dual identity, like as he's drawing in here, because these faces look more like again, I don't really know all the artists that drew in kind of more of a I would call this grotesque style, meaning it's cartoony, but like beyond like a Silvestri or Jim Lee thing. Like the faces are a little more distorted. Now the colors aren't really helping in terms of like how this face looks. Because Silvestri definitely sometimes would draw heads that were this like stretched out. But if you looked at some of the other heads that he's drawing, well, like the normal guy versus the guy that was getting punched, it like went from Roger Cruz, like see like these. This to me looks like Hitch maybe drawing on his own, and then when he was referencing say like Jim Lee, all of a sudden he would dial in his structure more. But I think that this is probably more naturally how Bryan was drawing back then, because these are all consistent. That's how you can tell. It's like there's just isms in your stuff, the way that you draw, the way that you think, the way that you do stuff, and younger artists or people that are kind of in the beginning or intermediate stages, they can't even recognize it in their own work. And like a professional, like I think I have the advantage of I've worked around really good artists, but like, I mean, when I draw still to this day, I think of friends that I've worked with seeing my stuff and going, come on, dude, seriously? You're going to let that arm go? And so it definitely kicks me in the ass because I know that like Lee Bermejo is going to see my stuff, or Jim Lee is going to see my stuff, and they've got a highly more developed and critical eye than I do. And I don't mean that in a when I say critical, meaning just that they have more experience. They're going to be able to see the bullshit. So I try to eliminate as much bullshit as possible from my stuff. And that doesn't mean that it can't be fun. See, and this is interesting too. So like this, and then this looks like Hitch like later. It's fascinating. This is nice. Really good. His stuff has got some great detail. Like this is all the like ciphers that you would think of using on like a classic comic face. Right? What do we got? Chuck Rocks. Let's see what this ad is. Never played this game. I remember the ads, but side scroller, I guess. Yeah, they probably all were back then, or mostly. Maybe not. All right, let's see. Nothing stops Marvel's X-Men. That's not necessarily true. This ad got a little dark. Sam Goody. I don't even think that's a thing. Are any of these stores still around? Suncoast. These might all be. I think this one has the potential to be there. I don't know about Musicland. I've heard of it. I don't think they had them where I live. All right, what do we got? Oh, cool. I have no idea what this guy's name is, but I've seen him before. I'm not kidding either. What is his name? I never really read the X-Men. Quite frankly, what the fuck? What? That's weird. So they had to have all known each other at this point, because it's like that's a very, very weird coincidence. See, this is why my channel is better than KFAB. I'm telling you, you get these moments, these magic moments where the universe lines up. So I totally equate Bryan Hitch and Frank Quietly as like a wave, even though I know that they don't live anywhere remotely near each other as far as I think. But that is really interesting. But I wonder if that is like a joke about Vince. That's really interesting. That's a weird quinky dink, because most people know that like Frank followed Bryan on Authority, but they really were kind of synonymously linked a few years later, quite a few years later, in fact. So that's a very, very weird coincidence. If that's just a coincidence, that's really, really weird. All right, let's move on, friends. Let me know who that big goofy guy is. I've seen him before. I have the trading card. Man, this is nice. He's got a funny nose. I'm not sure I would have kept that. But it's hard to say if it had been designed before. This is fun piece. Double page spreads take a long time. Covers, pinups, or like splash pages, I mean, they can be time consuming. I find a regular sequential page is a little quicker. I mean, obviously a spread would take longer because it's twice as big, but what I mean is 2 sequential pages I think would be quicker than a double page spread. For some reason, you slow down and you kind of have to think a little more. Even inking it, even if you didn't draw it, just inking it, I think that they feel a little more time consuming. Man, this is detailed. This is really nice. Fuck, man. This is such a great drawing. This is a nice page, too. Hold on, let's go back and look at the whole thing. A lot of panels. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 panel page. And it really doesn't feel very cramped. You know, honestly, it reads quite clear. Got a fairly nice dynamic shot here. You've got some small stuff, some medium stuff, and kind of big. I mean, this figure is kind of big, and this is kind of big. It's nicely laid out. He really does a good job. Here, I'll show this really quick. So this is cool. So he kind of like, this is the opening panel, but this shape really actually does push you up to these. He's got this beautiful kind of almost circular vibe right here that really helps you move through this. This brings you down here, and then the nice, it's really good. And he frames this, which is usually your outro, is going to be either this way, or as I've said in many videos, we notice that Bill Sienkiewicz tends to sweep you up. So if you look at Bill Sienkiewicz pages, a lot of times this area right here, he'll have some sort of upward motion, which in theory would swing you up to the top of the next page. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can move them out, down, or you can move them up. And you could theoretically move them out this way. It's a little maybe boring. Try never to think straight up and down and left and right. Remember that you've got space. You can go back into space. You can come forward. You can, I mean, this could be coming forward. This could be going back. But you really, really want to have the sensation of, you know, space in your drawings, you know. Don't think 2D, think 3D. All right, what do we got? some sexy ladies. She's like Freddy Krueger meets a leprechaun. This character is funny because she's like got like hot girl face. The purple, like the design of it. This is Jubilee. But her mouth is like really funny. That square around her mouth really like it's like makes her crazy. This is weird too. Oh, it's her. I was like, her head got small or big here. This is very like he did a kind of Ming the Merciless type bad guy in Authority. Like, give this guy a different hairstyle. It's kind of similar. This is really interesting book. A lot of bang for your buck. This is nice, man. Those are great. Classic stuff. All right, what do we got? Come on, friends. Ooh, East Coast Comics. Let's see what's for sale. Is it expensive stuff or just whatever? Comics. See what Amazing 300's going for back then. Does he have any? No. This ad was in frickin' every book for a million years. I swear to God. It's probably the highest published ad ever in a comic. No. So, I'll point this out. It's not a big deal, but I like. Oh, I don't. I'm not a huge fan of team books. I'll explain why, because I've worked on many. Ultimately, you get a lot of shit like this. And I know the book is wrapping up, but it's so annoying just having a bunch of characters standing around. And that's what team books, you get all these panels with just, it's like two people talking and then like six people standing in the background. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, this page doesn't suffer from it too much. But I mean, you could literally have like 30 characters on a page of basically two or three people talking. It's just kind of annoying. It seems unnecessary, but I mean, it's like, if the team's there, everyone's got to be seen. Big monster. This is starting to look a little like he's having to rush a little bit. Although these are really nice. I take a book of this kind of drawings all day. These are really nice little figures. Hitch is legit, man. These are good. This is good shit. This is a really nice running pose away. Really good. Man, his thighs are nice and chunky. This is great. Really nice. This panel looks a little tiny bit more rushed. It could be the inks though. But the colors are kind of a little underwhelming, but still pretty good. He's got some nice kind of Alan Davis sort of stuff going on. This is really nice too. Yep. It's just good. All right, what do we got? All right. Okay. Monster definitely looks cooler from this angle. Like, you definitely get a little bit more of a vibe. Oh, yeah. This is a good, takeaway, though, from it. I think the other one was a little closer to maybe, like, a front view. But you see how, like, even just turning it to, like, I think they consider this a 3/4 view or 1/4 view. I've never been sure. Yeah, you know, the moment you start to turn the camera a little bit, I mean, it really frees you up to actually do something more dynamic and sometimes actually easier to draw. I think front views are very difficult to draw out of. You're kind of cutting yourself off at the knees at the starting gate in terms of options. But, you know, turn something like this, got a foot going out of the panel, you know, like, it's just like, you get to draw like a lot of the cool neck. A lot of this arm is covered, so you're just drawing like a forearm. And, you know, nice. It's actually a really cool turn he's got on the hand. He brought it around this way. That's pretty awesome. I'm doing this with a mouse, just so you know. I'm on my other computer, but this is nice. Fin Fang Foom kind of vibe. Whatever his name is. Alright. Oh, there he is, Death's Head. Ba-na-na-na-na. Super designed character. He's got horns and skull face, long hair. This is like something I would draw. And he needs like a symbol, like anarchy sign on his chest. No. Yeah, he was always interesting. Like a little, like even when I first started collecting, he always felt a little tiny bit over designed, but I wouldn't want him any other way. Death's Head, I love you just the way you are. So don't go changing. All right, what do we got? Next issue. Join us as the world faces disaster as MYS-TECH demons run riot. Some of the world's greatest superheroes face death as Unearth's powers grow. The evil immortals. All right, this is cool. Well, I love that. Honestly, I thought that was so fun. Motor Mouth and Kill Power. That's right. Warheads and Dark Angel. Yeah, that was like an awesome popcorn movie. I would really, I just enjoyed that a lot. I thought that was really fun. So, okay, you guys have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow. If you have any other like hidden gems like this, let me know. Something campy with fun art that's exciting, maybe from the 80s or early 90s seems like fun, or 70s would be good too. But yeah, something wild, you know, like cartoony but detailed, or not detailed but designy, and just something fun. It would be a nice way to mix things up for maybe a week and just do some crazy I don't know if you call this retro, I guess you would, stuff. So, all right, you guys have a great day. I've got a bunch of lessons and reviews to do, and then I need to get to work. So I will talk to you all later. Bye.